Welcome to Healthy Nation. I'm Sharon Richter, registered dietitian. As a health professional, I work with my patients on what they can do to maintain a healthy diet. But sometimes we need to know what not to do or eat. And when you have very high triglycerides, there are certain ingredients that you should avoid. You may know some of them, like sugar and fat. When we have very high triglycerides, we have too much fat in our blood. The fat comes from the foods we eat, and our body can also make it from the extra calories in our diet. So it's important to watch what we eat. The first ingredient on our do not eat list are certain fats. We call these bad fats. Trans fats are one of the worst fats out there, so avoid them completely. On labels, they may be hidden under the name hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oil. Fried foods, shortening, and commercially processed junk food may contain trans fats. The good news is the food industry has cut way back on its use of trans fats. In fact, trans fats are banned in some places. Unfortunately, manufacturers often substitute saturated fat for trans fat. Saturated fat is also a bad fat. Read labels and limit, for example, foods with tropical oils. These include coconut, palm, and palm kernel oils. These oils are often used in movie theater popcorn. Air pop your own and you'll avoid these bad fats. The American Heart Association recommends that no more than 7% of your daily calorie intake should come from saturated fat. There's lots of fat-free foods in the grocery store, right? Yes, just be careful. They usually replace fat with sugar. Why should this matter? Sugar equals calories. And if those calories aren't burned immediately for energy, they're converted into triglycerides in the body. So you need to watch your intake. Read labels, limit foods with simple sugars listed in the first few ingredients such as sucrose, glucose, fructose, corn syrup, honey, molasses, and maltose. You also need to avoid sugary drinks like soda, fruit juice, and the sugar packets you might like to add to your coffee or tea. Refined or white breads and pastas are simple carbohydrates, which is a fancy way of saying sugar. These grains have had many of their nutrients stripped away in the refining process. All of these foods are easily broken down into sugars, then stored as fat. So that means white breads, white rice, white pastas are also on our do not eat list. Now that you've got an idea on what not to eat, one last word on what not to drink: alcohol. Whether it's wine, liquor, or beer, alcohol can contribute to very high triglyceride levels. Alcohol adds extra calories to the diet, which we already know is converted to triglycerides. Alcohol actually packs a lot more calories per gram than carbohydrates. Also, people tend to make poor dietary choices when drinking, meaning an already indulgent dinner can easily move right into dessert. If you have very high triglycerides, it's recommended you avoid alcohol altogether. But as a general guideline, the American Heart Association recommends no more than 1 drink a day for women and 2 drinks a day for men. Managing very high triglycerides with diet can be done, but it requires willpower and dedication. Most of all, reduce excess calories and keep your weight in check. For some people, however, dietary changes won't be enough. That's why it's important to work with your doctor and find an overall treatment plan that works for you. Thanks for watching Healthy Nation.